Right, welcome everybody to another episode of Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. I'm on your host, Chris, and my co-host and very good friend is Dave.
Hey there, Chris, and hello to our listeners out there. Welcome to Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. We are covering Love Island UK Season 12, Week 9, or the final week, Chris. So where would you like to start today?
Well, Dave, I just want to give you a pat on the back, round of applause, virtual hug to say we've made it again, pal. This is another series, 57 episodes later, and that's not even including, well, I think I've watched even the bloody 57 includes the extras, but my God, it is a hell of a slog, this show, innit? As much as it was the foundation of what this podcast was built on. And it hasn't felt a slog until these last few episodes where I just didn't care because there was just nobody I was rooting for. So I just think, like, as a series, and there's plenty of controversy as there always was with Love Island, good or bad and things like that. It's just got to be at the end of it. It's just sort of go, until I stitch you up with whatever we're doing next. But that's just another conversation day, so I won't upset you too much. But no, I'm just glad to be at the end of it all more than anything. And just it's sort of like, it sounds silly, but it's sort of, I've got a couple of holidays coming up, and I'm like, yay, my holidays are getting closer because Love Island's out the way. So, no, I'm just glad we're at the final.
Yeah, I have to say, I was ready for it to be over as well, but I think I do miss, in a lot of ways, I miss doing the daily, just come on, do 15, 20 minutes or something like that, just give our opinions and on what the latest happenings of the day were. But by about week 4 or 5, I'm like absolutely drained. So it is a bit more sustainable just doing it at the weekend, even though we have to kind of skim across a lot of the details. But yeah, and it's been a decent season, hasn't it? I think that's probably helped as well. Now, different opinions about, what exactly that means. It was a decent season because there was more drama. Well, why was there more drama? Because there are a lot of shitty people on there. But, this is sort of entertainment. It's not real life. There's enough real life stuff that we're all exposed to outside Love Island as well. But this is just a bit of nonsense. So, yeah, I've enjoyed it. Also, very glad it's over now.
100%, 100%. So I'm going to get back to your initial question, Dave. I think, and just before the final, we got the sort of comeuppance of Meg and Dijon, Dave. And, we get all the ex-Islanders come back. And the one thing about it, right, whatever anybody thinks of Meg and Dijon, and I see he's got more stick than Meg, but I wasn't a fan of Meg either. Playing it safe, there's been loads of memes like when they realise they're not winning it, and it's like someone did like a speech bubble above his head, like a thought bubble saying, I need to make up an argument so that we split up by the time we get back from holiday, and all this, like different things, because he's looking off into the ether at everything. But I just didn't think they were convincing. I didn't think they were a nice couple. I mean, it probably means that they're probably more like a real couple, Dave, because they were arguing and bitching at each other, and the next minute they're all loved up like most people do in a relationship. But I found that the way they got voted off, as much as it was great to see, what a coincidence that it went down to the last 2 votes pretty much. What was it, 7-all, 8-all, and then the last 2 stitched them up? I was like, come on. It was like a game of chess, wasn't it? 1 minute they were 2 in front, and you're thinking, oh, they're definitely going. Then it went back to 2, and it was just like, when it was Angel and Thingy, when it tie, and honestly, their friends were sticking up for them and everything. But Thingy was great. What was she called? The Irish girl. She laid into him. What's her name? She got bloody hell, she got a name, but she laid into Dijon, didn't she? Proper called him out. And Billy Kiss did as well. And I was like, yeah, you're going here. But Andrada. Yes. But she didn't hold back at all. She called him out what everyone had been thinking online. I've not seen many people support him. So I think that's what it was. I think people, we talk about like a showman's a fake relationship. They, for me, the more it went on, even the love thing and everything, and you should never say love to someone lightly, especially on a show and everything, even if like Meg's into him or he's into her and it's the other way around. I still wasn't convinced, but I just felt it was too obvious the way they handpicked everyone, especially when Helena was at the end. I was like, yeah, you've got 2 more votes here. I kept thinking it was going to go back to the Islanders still in the villa, and then it would have been Angel and Ty to go, but it wasn't, to be fair. I think that was the right thing to do, but it was it set up the last week nicely. I must admit that was a great episode.
See, I knew it was very obvious how they'd all spoken to the producers before about which way they were going to vote, and so they'd arranged them in a specific way to give that kind of manufactured drama. But I was okay with that. I kind of feel like if you had like the first six and they all went Megan Dejon, that it'd be fairly dull and boring. So it was quite obvious the way they'd set it up, but I was okay with it. And at the end of the day, I was quite surprised that they went that way because Angel and Ty have not had a lot of screen time. A lot of people didn't really know them that well. So it was almost as if it was alliances and these little battles that Megan Dejon had with different people. Everything came home to roost, didn't it? Because it was really down to that. It was the personal relationships rather than anything to do with them as a couple, to be honest. So it's a proper like fucking Jon Snow at the end of season 5 where everyone like fucking stabs them all in the back. And it was just great. Honestly, because I haven't bought them at all. I don't know if they're just faking it for the cameras or they're just lying to themselves. There's definitely no spark there at all. But you must have known couples in your life where there isn't really a spark and it doesn't, they go out and then doesn't take much for them to fucking have a bit of a Barney and then just sit there with a face like thunder for the rest of the night. So I just felt it was more like one of those couples. But I thought because they were OGs, I thought they still would probably be able to ride it out to the final. But yeah, I was glad the way it went, to be honest. And the way it's like, yeah, whatever, Vicky Pollard style. Yeah, whatever. We know what we know and we love each other and whatever. It's like, yeah, no one's buying it.
No one's buying it. I suppose you're right. You know the way because they've got to make the drama. I suppose if it's a complete whitewash and it's just like 10 to 4 or something, and you're completely taken out, then yeah, it wouldn't be the drama, would it? Us as the audience. If it's all one-sided, then yeah, it doesn't work, does it? I suppose. I don't even know why I'm questioning it, Dave, and calling it out because that's the way it was always going to go. And you probably asked them before who they were going to vote for.
Yeah, 100% they would have done, but yeah, it was good. It was good, but it set up the final quite well, and we'd been through the odds, hadn't we, about who would win it last week. But I thought, you know what, Chris, I'm really trying to stretch this out a bit, but yeah, fucking final, hate them all. It just by the time the actual day of the final, it's just such a. It's like the Oscars or something. It's such a self-congratulatory thing. I don't know. I was falling asleep in the actual final episode. I've got to be honest.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny because I can't stand the final episode. I think the whole point of it is the fact that you get that shit studio thing, don't you? And the chatting to everyone, and Maya Jama's like trying to crack jokes with him and be authentic, and it's just shit. I always say to Zach, it was on for an hour and 40 with adverts. So without adverts, it's about 80 minutes, and I'm like, just why? Do it in an hour. We get the same bollocks montage where the girls come out, they look stunning, the guys have got suits on, and they all jump in the pool. Well, we've seen it every series. It's shit. We're bored of it. Also, Dave, and I do want to bring this up, Dave. The only thing that was quite surprising about the final was
I know where this is going.
I've not heard anything, or my WhatsApp must be broke, or my network's down. But I've heard it from my good friend Joe Russell, Dave, because good old Tommy, the person you want to bring home to your family as someone who is such a lovable guy, and he's someone who should have won it. And I am paraphrasing what Joe has said. Openly admitted that he'd gone to one of the nightclub showings day for a bit of cash and decided to cop off with a girl and cheat on her, Dave, which he sort of apologised, but he didn't really care, did he? He'd gone with Ben. So what I say is this: Joe's phone network must be down, Dave, because I've not heard anything or any apology. She expected an apology from me, but she getting no apology there. That was a terrible judgment call. And Tommy, with his crap haircut, is another absolute blackguard. So we could see through him, Dave, from the start. I say the reality radar never misses, my friend.
Oh, wait. Oh, right. Okay. So you predicted Cash and Tony, did you?
Yes, I did, Dave. Unfortunately, my network went down at the time, and I quit. If we did anything, we just pass over that, Dave. I break the rules up as I go along.
I mean, the thing about Tommy, I couldn't even tell you exactly what it was, but there was just, it just spoke to like this fake nice guy. And I think there are genuinely nice people out there, and I don't know. I was questioning myself whether, is it just me being cynical, thinking like someone who comes on who's actually nice, you just always assume the worst. But there was something about him which just spoke like to this fake nice guy's persona, and he's just absolutely right at the end there. You're right. That was the one bit in the final where I was like, oh, hello.
I loved it.
Didn't expect to have validation quite so quickly, to be honest. I thought you could at least fucking keep it in your pants for at least till the series is over, mate. But no, he couldn't. So, just proved himself to just be the fake nice guy, didn't he?
I loved it. You know what? Because you were saying about the final. The final was boring as fuck. It was fucking rubbish. I was like, I'm sick to death. I don't care who wins. And Tony and Cash did catch me off guard that when you said they were actually the favourites in our last podcast on Sunday. But and I'm sat there on my phone, bored out on me fucking nut. And then I just said, oh, we've got a bit of news, haven't we, Tommy? Well, that happened. And I was up like a meerkat, Dave. I went from literally fast asleep. It was like someone had put a fucking Viagra in me, and all of a sudden my neck was straight. That neck, I'm talking about my neck with my head. What I talk out of. And I was up straight like, oh, hello. Oh, Joe. And I messaged Joe, but I know because of work, she's sort of catching up on some of the episodes. So I was thinking, do I message her or not? And then I'm thinking, no, I can't wait for Joe to listen to this because she's going to listen to this and I'm going to be smug than anything, Dave. And she did say Chris is going to be smug. Well, I'm taking that. I'm glossing over the reality radar and Harry and Helene winning it and stuff. We can forget about that because it just supersedes everything because Tommy is just a dirty dick like all the other guys on the show.
Yeah. And then in quick succession, it went across to Ben, and who was also, caught out. But then with Ben, I mean, he never showed himself to be anything other than that, did he?
No.
So he's probably off there in his fake taxi straight away as soon as he got out.
Now, I don't know if you've noticed it, Dave, but we may have been canvassed by someone representing Ben to come on the show, and I'm thinking, I don't think so. But I did hear that he's a MMA fighter, Dave, and done UFC stuff. So when you were calling him rotten, I was like, yeah, it was Dave, that. It wasn't me.
Oh, yeah. Like fucking Blue with his Thai boxing.
Brilliant. But the guys, though, I've got to say, as an overall depiction on the show, there's not many of the guys come out of this well at all. They've just we've had it a few seasons where the girls have been bitching at. Most of the time, it's been the guys, and you get the odd girl with bad behaviour. But this series, especially, Dave, they've been a bunch of wankers, haven't they? Like really poor at times, and people have seen through the bullshit and that. I mean, Harry was one of the worst, and for some reason, he's come second. He's got because of Shakira, because he is an absolute bellend, that guy. Just unbelievable that he came second.
Yeah, I think that is one of the positives, I think, that's come out of it with Tony and Cash winning, because I don't think Cash did anything wrong at all.
Yeah, he's a nice guy, yes.
Yeah, and that's, I was saying about wondering if I'm kind of just cynical as seeing everyone as a nice guy, completely not being a nice guy, when I'm looking at Tommy's behaviour. But you look at Cash and he does seem to be more genuine. Now, Q next week it comes out, he's like fucking caught out in a nightclub scandal or something. So Everyone's probably got skeletons and demons or whatever, but he did come across on this show as being the best bloke, really. And so I think it was a good thing that he won. And obviously, the last two, it was down to, Cash and Tony or Shakira and Harry. And I think it would have been a travesty, even though, like you say, probably it was the popularity of Shakira that got them to that point. But Christ, if Harry had fucking won Love Island, that would have been, it would have said terrible things for our fucking society, wouldn't it?
100%, 100%. And I just think, like, he was a so there's a difference between thinking he's a great person and enjoying the show and thinking he's an absolute bellend, isn't there? For entertainment purposes, for the purpose of the show, he was the sort of character that was needed, but morally and ethically, at times, he wasn't. He's an absolute clown. But then you're thinking, well, what else would we have seen through the show? You know, the Shakira, Tony, Helena, and Megan sort of hate of each other was not hidden. They went at each other at every opportunity. The guys just fucked about. Harry was always pulling that dopey face when he got caught out. Didn't really care, did he? At times, he was even doing it in front of Helena. He was like flirting with the girls and everything. Didn't really care. Then he fobbed it off. And then eventually she had enough and she's like, nah, I can't do this anymore. Because that's shown to me that she was faking it. I think she was hurt every time he did that sort of thing. But he had to keep it together because of she needed to stay in the show. And then when it got to the point where she's like, there's nothing for me and I'm going. Because he had hurt. I think she liked him in the end. And it was like, yeah, we're done. We're done here. And then she left. So yeah, it's just it's an interesting spot the way the show is. And I think it's been entertaining, but like, my God, there's been some moments as well. But that's what it's about, Love Island. You're going to have controversy. There's nothing we can do about that. That's the nature of the show. And I think the more shocking, and no matter what as long as there's some publicity, it's good publicity. And that's the way it is, isn't it, with Love Island? As long as it's trending, that's all that matters for the people who make the show.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have said in previous seasons, it would be good if, maybe a part of the after show or something, there was like a spin-off which actually talked about some of these real fucking toxic behaviors and, educated people, because I think a lot of the kind of toxic stuff, it does happen, like in a lot of relationships and stuff. So I think having that sort of side companion thing would be a good thing. But first and foremost, the primary thing is the show, isn't it? And that you need the drama, otherwise it'd be boring as fuck. You'd end up with Olivia's season, and then we'd all be out pretty soon.
Yeah, that's true. That's true. I mentioned, Dave, a few weeks ago that on Spotify, we had a few comments. So Harriet, who's one who said like, our research is shit, and we wear that with a badge of mine because it is. Research. She has commented actually at the end of the show, so she's put, and this is over on Spotify if you don't want to use that chat function. Okay, have to call you guys out again and your lack of research. Yeah, well, we can't argue with that. Harry does in fact have a mortgage. He was discussing winning the 50k on the daybeds with Emma to pay it off. If Tony and Cash don't win, then I'll be putting a formal written complaint into Ofcom. Yes, I'm one of those people. No, seriously, thanks for the past 8 weeks of podcasting. I thoroughly enjoyed tuning in. Looking forward to your Maths UK recaps in September. I think I'll have to hunt down your Facebook group, which is Chris and Dave's Reality TV Guys. So get over there, Harriet, or anyone else who wants to join us. And then she's got a little bit of tea, Dave, for whatever we're going to do next, which is pretty obvious. She's put what the show is, Also, I've got a bit of gossip. A guy I used to regularly date has just signed up for Maths Australia 2026. How about that? So we'll see on that, Dave, if this guy comes in and see if Harry can give us a little bit of tea when we start doing that in the new year. But I think it's just been a good thing for everyone. The chat function's been great. People can air the views, good or bad. They can call me and you out, no problem at all. And I think that's the whole point of what we do. It's just us taking a mick. It's just two mates, literally as if we're in the pub having a drink, just chatting shit. And obviously, if we were in a pub talking about reality TV, Dave, especially Love Island, we'd be sat in a corner away from all the blokes and everything, because we'd probably get punched in the nose or something if they knew we weren't talking about football. But it would be a quiet bar that probably nobody was in. Maybe at dinner time when there's nobody in the pub, we'd get away with that.
Yeah. No, I take the point about the mortgage and the 50K, but I the amount once they built up that following, I was looking into this the other week that depending on how many followers you've got, you can make about 5 grand per Instagram post. And if they're releasing one, not quite every week, but if you release about 50, that's 250 grand a year. So that's why I think the prize money, because it's not 50 grand, is it? You're splitting it between two of you. And let's face it, they're not going to be together for that long. So it's 25 grand, really. So I think what they can earn from all the followers and the social media stuff, that's what I think dwarfs the actual prize money.
Yeah, 100%. And that's where you've got to do it properly.
Yeah,
You know what I mean? That's exactly what you've got to do. So, no, it's been good, mate. I mean, anything else? Because I know we just said we jump on for a quick wrap up. I mean, I think overall it's made me want to watch it more than it's made me want to turn it off this season. And I think that's a plus, whatever you think of the show.
Yeah, I mean, there were some episodes, weren't there, where it finishes and you're like, oh, God, I can't wait till the next episode. Whereas, again, for some of the other seasons, it's like, God, won't something just happen? I don't care. So, yeah, again, some of the behaviors were not the best, which forced that drama. But at the end of the day, that's what it is. It's Love Island. So yeah, been a good season. What do you reckon overall? And I still think if I go back to season 5 where we started out, I still think that was probably the most entertaining. But I think this one's up there. Where do you reckon? What'd you say out of 10?
I'd probably say it's 6.5, 7.
Yeah, I was thinking 7. So
yeah, 7. It's not the best, but it's been entertaining.
Yeah. So yeah, I think it's been a good season, but appreciate, and we've been able to do our guerrilla recording whenever we can. And so we've got some up on YouTube, haven't we? And then some like this where we're just doing audio. But yeah, it's been a good season. Looking forward to a little bit of a break before MASH starts.
100%. I'll have some else up my sleeve, Dave. But yes, we're definitely having a couple of weeks off. So thank you, everyone, for all your support. It's been great, honestly, as it's just Love Island, and it's just silly nonsense sort of throwaway TV. And that's the way it always will be, unfortunately. It's just absolute garbage. You're either in or you're out. And I get plenty of stick from my friends. I've said this for years. Like, they can't believe that a 46-year-old man is wanting to watch Love Island. I mean, I forced this onto you, so this is my fault, not you. So, but it is just what it's about. It's utterly stupid. And yeah, for some reason, I just really like it. Yeah, we just love it. So there you go. But no, big thank you to everyone. If you want to email us, cdrealitycast@gmail.com. If you want to follow us on social media, @cdrealitycast. If you do support us, please go over to Facebook. No, don't go over to, well, you can go over to Facebook, Chris and Dave's Reality TV Cast. If you do support us, please go up to patreon.com/cdrealitycast. So the last roll call of honor for this season, a big thank you to everyone who supported us, past and present, over on Patreon. Thank you so much, guys. We have Mel, Holly, Darren, Anna, Tilly, Marcy, Stacey, Sinead, Kathleen Sims, Nick, Danielle, Amanda, Larissa, Nicola, Gillian, Keith, Helen, Chloe, Joanna, Libby, Susan, Tracy, Lauren, Lucky Lulu Green, and Ken Gustafson. So thank you so much, guys, for your support. Amazing. And another season chalked off, mate.
I was on mute. Like an idiot, like an amateur. But no, it's absolutely brilliant. So thank you very much. So thanks to all our listeners out there. Thanks to all our supporters. And we'll speak to you next time.
Bye.